Part 1. So where do we start making a tulip? We'll start from the middle. These will be the pistil and stamens. What do we need for this? You need some cold porcelain. I have a modern clay. Thick wire for making the tulip stem. I have a wire thickness of 1.6 millimeters. The length of this wire is about 40 centimeters. So, main stack, nail scissors, stationery knife. You will also need latex glue and paint for toning. White zinc was used for mixing in clay. Yellow paint. That's all. We begin. We'll start by mixing the desired color. For this, we take a small amount of clay. Something like this. It can be a little less. And we need to mix the paint. Make it light yellow. To do this, it is necessary to crumple the clay so that it becomes more flexible, more pliable. Next, we knead white zinc into it. Why do I use white zinc instead of titanium? Because I want to maintain transparency. Titanium white cloaks the transparency. They are opaque. They remove transparency. Therefore, we use white zinc. So, a small amount was added. We knead well. So, now, we take the yellow paint. And we need to add a very small amount of yellow paint. I take it out of the tube with my finger like this. Try it a little so you don't overdo it. The color should be light. We don't need a rich yellow, but a light shade. So, we knead well. And we see what happens with this. So, look. The color is light. Light yellow, the one in principle that we need. That's all. Now we remove the clay into the file. Close the paint and we start forming. Pistil formation. Before we start making a pestle, what do I need to do? I want to tape around the wire so that the green color is not visible. First, I have a wire without a winding, as if you still need a winding in any case so that there is a basis for attaching the clay. And so that the pistil does not shine through, since it is still translucent, it is necessary to be light. Since I have it green, we will wind it now. For this, I will use a white tape. If you have a wire, for example, white one, white winding, then it's generally great, since this is the best option so that the pestle does not show through. Otherwise, the clay is translucent and it can be like that. Not necessary, but very likely. So, I'll wind it up a bit now, and then I'll make a pestle. Pull the tape a little, and I'll wrap it. I'll wrap a little more than necessary. Let it be. That's all. The wire is wrapped. Now I make the pestle myself. How will I do it? Look, we take a small amount of clay. We knead it a little. So, rolling the ball, and now I roll the sausage. In general, the sausage thickness should be about 7 to a maximum of 8 millimeters. This is if your tulip is large enough, such as I will have. Such as we will do together. So, therefore, The pistil should not be quite small, but medium in size. We will do so. We will apply it now. We will insert it into the wire and then we will shape it. So, cover the end of the wire with glue and carefully insert it into the base of the clay. Insert like this. And shape it gently with your fingers, as if pulling on the wire. So, now we will definitely remove the excess. So look, these are the surplus. I do not completely remove them, but leave the top small. So the wire should remain. Here is where the wire ends. Look, you can see. Somewhere there should be 3-4 millimeters free clay. So we leave. Gently roll up to make it very even. Now, we take scissors and we need to cut the top into 3 parts. Gently make one incision a little smaller in size and the second cut in half. Here's what happens. I will bend the wire a little so that it can be seen. This form turns out. Now we press these cut ends gently, twist them so that they become more round. Now you need to use the stack. This is how we make small such veins. We correct the stack carefully. So, now we form triangles with our fingers carefully. Do not overdo it. We need to flatten the tip itself a little like this and gently press it with our fingers. And we form, as it were, a small triangle where we slightly tilt it down. See what happens? We grab it, lower it down, pull it up. So, now let's show another one. Here it is round. We press it with our fingers and gently lower it down. How it looks from the top. These are the triangles. Now we take a knife and make a vein carefully. One streak on one such thing. So now. Second streak. And the third one. I'll pull it on now. How would we make a small cut like this? Like a deepening. Now watch. We correct it carefully. We can narrow it down a little with a stack here so that the top is more voluminous than the bottom. The pistil itself. We walk carefully. The wire slips uncomfortably. It's uncomfortable to hold it in my hands. So let's see what we get. Look, such a pistil. Now I cut a little at the bottom because my pistil is quite long. I simply cut off the excess clay and remove it. Now I gently adjust it with my fingers so that everything is even. If you can't do it gently with your fingers just on the clay, then you can wash it. Then you can take water and gently walk with your fingers and wash. That is so that there are no bruises, errors. Everything should be neat enough. Look, here is a pistil turned out. The size of the pistil now we will measure how much it turned out. So it is 2.5 centimeters. 2.6 centimeters, while about 1 centimeter wide along these big ends. I measured the distance here, it is about 1 centimeter. Look, here is a pistil turned out. Now we need to make the stamens. So the next step is to create the stamens. Look, we need to make the stamens long a little higher than the pistil. The stamens will be black. I'll show you how we will do them. We need to make stamens from stage 2. First we make the base of the stamen, and then the continuation, the black part that comes with the pollen. See what we do. We take a small piece of clay, roll a ball out of it. The ball is about 4 mm in size. Next, we make an elongated drop from it. And we press the base of this droplet with our fingers. We make it flat. And we need to make 6 of these parts. So, I'll do one more. So, all the same. We roll the ball. We make a long drop. And gently press the base with your fingers. Make sure they are not too wide at the base. If it turns out widely, then you can remove the clay like this and give the desired shape with your fingers. The width of the stamen. Now we will measure how much it turns out. About 3 mm. And the stamens are so long, our part is 1 centimeter. We make such parts for stamens 6 pieces. I've done 2, now I will finish 4 more. After 6 stamens are ready, the basis for the stamens, we need to make the upper part. We need to make it black. I will mix gas soot into clay. I take a small amount of the same yellow clay, and now we will add black paint to it. So, we add a small amount because the paint is in principle well colored. And after drying, the clay will also darken by 2-3 tones. So we need, of course, the stamens are yellow and black. In our case, these are black stamens. I add a little more. Therefore, we make black. So, mix the paint well into the clay. What will we do? We take a small amount of clay. Here you can take a little more ball, about 5 mm. Again, we roll, we make an elongated drop. Gently flatten it down like this. Making it flatter. Now watch what we do. We apply the lower part carefully, or rather, even in black clay. We wrap it with black clay. You don't even need to use latex glue because the clay is soft and adheres very well. At the same time, we form the desired shape because when I insert, the shape can be changed. I pressed it with my fingers and the shape changed. We carefully look, follow the form. What do we need to do? I learned this form, but I want to change it a little. I press the lower part and flatten it. I make it wider. Now I squeeze it like this on both sides. Look, I squeeze, and how I do next. I leave the edges on both sides and press, as if forming a notch. That is, our stamen should not just be perfectly smooth, but as it were, like this, it is compressed on both sides. Look, here is a tulip stamen. Let's show it again. So, we put it. We take again a small amount. The clay should be soft, because if it is tight enough, then it is better to use latex glue for gluing. We roll the ball. We make a long drop. Press harder with your finger again. We make a flat drop. Look. Flat one. Take part of the second yellow base. We apply like this, going a little on the black part, about 2 mm, and we embrace with black yellow clay. We need to grab it like this. That's all. It grabbed onto all sides. It is holding up well now. Again, flatten it gently. We remove the surplus if there is any. Look. And I press it from both sides, lifting up the clay. I make such an irregular shape, pressed on both sides, a depression inside, raised edges on top. This is the shape of the stamen. Look again. On the reverse side, it is simply smooth. On the other, it has a depression. That is, these are the stamens. I show in this way. After we have all 6 stamens made, we will definitely make more black pollen. So, of course it is still necessary to make for a start. And let's try it over. See how they will look. Here you can make this place a little longer. The base of the stamens is yellow, because when they attach to our pistil, they could be slightly higher than the pistil or at the same distance. That is, the main thing is that they are not lower than the pistil, either higher or at the same level. That is, in this way. Then I make all the other stamens and then we will make them pollen. So in order to make pollen on them, we need to use... Here I have a pile powder. It is black. It is very convenient to use it. Next, I'll need some latex glue. Now it is already diluted because it is very thick. Dilute it a little with water to get a thinner consistency. I will use a strain. If you don't have a strainer, you can simply use a brush to apply. See what we're going to do. First, put a little in a sieve. I add fluffy powder to the sieve. So, use it very carefully because it is very volatile. Either use a medical mask to prevent pollen and fluffy powder from getting into your nose, or just ventilate well and do it very carefully. So, look, we take the diluted glue. Gently apply it to the black part of the stamen with a brush. We do not paint yellow. So, now, over the napkin, of course, so that it does not fly anywhere, we begin to apply pollen with light movements. At the same time, the fluffy powder lays down very neatly, evenly, and the effect is much better. Look. Now, we will blow off the surplus later, or now it can be done. Here's what happens. We leave it to dry and we process the rest of the stamens in the same way. Let's do one more bottom now. Let's go next. All the same. We apply glue carefully. Make sure that a lot of glue does not lay down. This is also useless because it is quite liquid and we do not need excess. Apply in such a way that the pile powder just sticks. So, and again, with the help of a sieve, I carefully apply with such movements. Of course, at the same time it flies into your hands, but it's okay, then we'll carefully clean it up all. Shake it off and wash it. So, it can be shaken off gently. The second stamen is ready. See what is good about latex glue? Because after drying it is completely invisible. It does not leave any traces. There is only pile powder remains on a black background, black clay. It turns out, of course, the effect we need. That's all. Then I do the same with the rest of the stamens. Do the same. Then we will glue them to the pestle. So after our stamens are ready, along with the pollen, we need to glue them. Look, because of the clay at the bottom of the base is soft, this part is yellow, as mine, then we glue it on latex glue. If it has already dried out and has become hard enough, then it is better to glue it on super glue. I will use latex glue as they are still quite soft. What will I do? I coat the base of the stamen with latex glue and apply. I apply to the base of the pestle. So, in this way. And I do the same with all other stamens. It turns out I glue and apply next to each other. So, we coat. Press gently so that they are all on the same level, stamens. So, 3 are glued and 3 more left. We glue it inward. This is the place, black, which we deepened, pinched with our fingers, that is, this side should look inward. That is, it should be closer to the pistil. That is, not from the back side, but facing the pistil. So, glue the 4th. There are still a couple left to do, and it will be ready. So, 5th. If we come across excess glue, we wipe it off. Because we don't need it, it will shine. We wipe it off. Well, this is the event that the extra hid. And we also glue the stamen and look. Look. So, now. While they are still soft, you can distribute them neatly. So look, this is what happens. It turns out the middle is like this with the pestle and stamens. So, well, in any case, the stamens should look a little like this to the sides, so we can move them if they are close to the pestle. That is, so that they look in different directions in the same way as the rays. Here is our middle. That's all. Well, now we will begin to make the petals themselves.